Hello all, it's me, Dhyutidhara Bandooni again, and I hope you all are doing good. Also, you're going to see more videos in the next few months because my summer vacation has begun. Yahoo! And today, I hope you're okay with my feet being in this position because like a little bit comfortable more. Okay, so I hope you are okay with that. But anyways, yahoo! It's now my summer vacation, and today I have another interesting topic that I researched about. I also think it is very interesting, and it's called solar storm. So let's get into it. You see the sun, right? It seems like it's a solid. It seems like it's made of like solid matter, but in reality, it's like an ocean. It is a very hot ocean, but it's so hot that it rips atoms into electrons and nuclei, all flowing around each other in a plasma. We didn't know plasma is the fourth state of matter. There are not three. The four and possibly more that I don't know about. But anyways, it flows around each other in a plasma. Okay, this plasma made of electrically charged electrons and protons create a magnetic field as they move around. Magnetic field is one part of a Joule force known as electromagnetism. Electricity creates magnetic fields, and magnetic fields create electricity. Okay? So as it flows around, it creates a magnetic field as it goes because the electrically charged protons and electrons. I already told you that. Oh, and also one more thing I forgot to mention. This magnetic field contains enormous amounts of energy and leaks out into the solar system and carries with it a constant trickle of plasma known as the solar wind, creating sort of space weather. Yeah, there's no weather in space, but it's creating a sort of space weather. Okay, so back where I was. This magnetic field isn't just always calm and smooth. So it turns and flows around itself as the plasma turns and flows around itself. This creates magnetic knots. Like this is the sun, this is a knot. This knot is way oversized, but just an example, okay? It will be like this, bulging out the sun. And also you cannot see magnetic fields, but this magnetic knot will contain enormous energy, and once it snaps, it will create a solar storm, and the sun can then vomit plasma and other awful things in random directions and possibly towards us. There are more types of solar storms. Sorry about that. There are more types of solar storms, and this is the first one. Okay, it's called solar flare. It is like a tidal wave of high energy radiation that sweeps up protons in the solar wind, turning it into a high speed solar proton storm. Sounds very deadly, but there's also another type. It is called coronal mass ejection, or CME. I'm calling it CME. It's more easy to pronounce, and this can lift millions or billions of tons of plasma and catapulting it throughout the solar system. And then once it hit us and other monsters hit us, nothing happens. Although smaller storms can indeed damage satellites, be dangerous to astronauts, and affect radio communication, for people on Earth, it's nothing. We can't feel it because our Earth's magnetic field and atmosphere absorbs the high energy radiation well before it reaches the surface of the Earth, so we're practically fine. But like all weather, there can be bigger storms that produce more damage, or in the sun's case, solar superstorms. Yeah, they sound even more intense, and they'll sound way more intense. solar superstorms, if one happened today, we would first detect lots of big solar flares. We would detect intense big solar flares, and then after that, the thunder emits, and the thunder is a CME. And then once the CME hits Earth, it creates the magnetic field of Earth. It creates a shock wave, violently compressing the Earth's magnetic field and atmosphere, transferring energy into the magnetosphere. But it can be even worse. Can you believe it? If the magnetic field of the CME and Earth's magnetic field is aligned just right, the two magnetic fields can merge, and it will shape the Earth's magnetic field into a long tail. But the tail cannot hold all that energy indefinitely. So once it's too much energy to contain, it snaps, and then the CME gets launched in the direction of Earth. A geomagnetic storm has now started. A few hundred years ago, nobody would have even cared. This storm is nothing to things made out of meat and bones. Like us humans, we're made of meat and bones, not technology, but super relevant for machines made out of metal and wire. Like the very iPad I'm using to record this video. It's made of metal and wire. Yeah, so it will be very deadly indirectly to us because we use lots of electronics. The biggest geomagnetic storm or solar superstorm in history that we know of is the Carrington event, the biggest solar superstorm in history. Massive auroras. Oh, and also when a coronal mass ejection hits Earth, the magnetic field directs it and directs the intense radiation towards the poles, creating auroras. I forgot to mention this, by the way. Sorry for that. But massive auroras arrived as far south as the Caribbean, and in some places they were so bright that people got up thinking the sun was rising. Yeah, that's how bright it got. They thought the sun was rising. Can you believe it? But thankfully there was only one sort of modern technology, and in those times, telegraph writers. They failed all over the world, shocking the operators, not working, and chucking out sparks. That was my spark sound effect. But now we have lots of more technologies, so it will affect it more of our lives, because we usually spend some of our lives using phones, and yes, those are electronics. And did you know that even more can happen? But wait, before I tell you that, let me tell you something. In 2012, a storm as big as the Carrington event nearly hit Earth, only missing it by a small margin. So you say that it could have caused so much damage, and the time to repair it would have taken up to 10 years and at minimum 4 years. But experts also disagreed, saying that some experts saying that it might cause blackouts, others saying it would be very much more worse. But also it will get worse. Bad also is bound to happen eventually, and a 2019 paper said that even calm stars like our sun can produce super flares once every few thousand years. The eruption so big, the damage that it could have done to our electronics would take years up to decades to fix. And you might not realize how much you depend on electricity. Not just lights at home, it is also computers, no navigation, and no communication, water supply systems drying all over the world, grocery stores not being refilled, and while food rots in the fields. It will be so disastrous to humanity. It would be very difficult to restart our broken power grid when we have no electricity. But you don't need to worry about going to the Stone Age. You don't need to practice your fire making skills with just stone. A storm like this probably won't happen. People who work at the factories that keep our electronics running are very aware of the threats posed by solar storms, and astronomers who watch the sun get notified of a solar storm from few hours up to few days before they even happen. And you could also just shut down the power. This is to the people who work at factories. They could just shut down the power and then let the CME or superstorm or whatever storm just flow by Earth and then just reactivate it. And other power lines, which extra power lines, just powering lots of lights and other stuff, could be open to dissipate all the extra power. And with investments and technologies cheap compared to other natural disasters, it will be very easy to do. And remember to subscribe and like this video, click the notification bell, and share this video to your friends so they can also get informed. And for now, bye!